May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Oh man, it's hot outside. Happy Friday, everybody. You are tuned to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I'm Scott, your host for today's show, and a man that is convinced that this is not just a dry heat. By the way, it is 108 lovely degrees outside of my office, and that is truly awful. I know I pay more taxes here in California to make sure that the temperature never rises to 108. And with me in the studio, probably sweating his butt off as well, is the man that makes it all work and probably has a fan nearby, Paul B.
How's it going,
Paul?
I'm actually got some air conditioning here. It's tolerable indoors. That's the only reason I'm here, really.
Just for the air conditioning.
Yeah,
Paul
that's why I show up. Yeah, they don't pay me. I just come here to suck up air.
Nice. Well, cool. Well, if you have a question for me, you can always email me at scott@robertsoncom.com. That's my company, and I'll be happy to answer anything right on this show. And you can find my posts, my client news clips, and other stuff at the Robertson.com Facebook page, which will not surprise you at all that it's facebook.com/ wait for it, Robertson.com, or Twitter @Robertson.com. See, it all just folds together like a master plan of some kind. Reach out and connect with me. You'll be entertained. Hopefully I can give you a few good tips, too. Actually, today's show comes from one such email that asked me to delve into business-to-business marketing and kind of what I was asked kind of what I think of the state of B2B marketing. So I call this episode, which is episode 21, if you're keeping track, and I know my mom is. That's 21, just so you know. And I call this episode B2theB. Really, it's time to dig into what I like to call business-on-business crime as we discuss how businesses market to other businesses. I think B2B is still very misunderstood. I think it's done poorly by a lot of companies who settle for a lot less than they should be doing. Today, we're going to learn about how to be better at B2B than you've ever thought really possible. And we're going to shatter some B2B myths that might just be holding you back. That's what I'm talking about. And of course, we will talk about who's winning and losing in this wide and wonderful world of marketing and communications. So, what is B2B? It's a fun little acronym, rolls off the tongue, kind of sounds like you're going to start rapping right after you start saying it. But it's actually a marketing practice of individuals or organizations, which include commercial businesses, governments, institutions, yada, yada, and that it allows them to sell products and services to other companies and organizations that either resell them, use them in their own products and services, or use them to support their works. So it's sort of the marketing behind the marketing, of consumer marketing. It's been around for quite some time. Basically, you can clock it to about the mid-19th century. It's been around for a good long time. It's not like a new thing that, hey, B2B marketing happened, in 1960s or something like that. Not really. No, it's been around a lot longer than that. It's actually a pretty big category. A lot of people don't know exactly how big it is. It is about, according to the latest research and surveys out there, it's about $85 billion. And what you'll find interesting about that is almost $20 billion of that is trade shows. Trade shows are big business, and still for business to business in particular. So you've got almost a fourth of all B2B marketing going to the trade show industry. What's the difference between B2B and B2C? And I get this a lot. You'd be amazed how many marketing people get this wrong, by the way. And the reason they get it wrong is because it's changed. When I started in my career, it was thought that the world was flat. No, I'm not that old. It was thought that B2B marketing and B2C marketing were pretty different. Basically, and this is like, you can look this up. This is a real thing. And B2C marketing was taught as, okay, it's more emotion driven. It's less rational. It's less serious. It's all these kind of other things. And B2B marketing really needed to be because it was a business audience. It needed to be a lot more formal, a lot more kind of static, a lot more fact-based, a lot more, based on, on the rational side more than the emotional side. Now, all of that is not true, just so you know. None of the neuroscience that we have uncovered today here in lovely 2016 supports any type of conclusion. And by the way, if anybody has any different information, please let me know. But the latest neuroscience that's out there in the marketing profession shows that human beings are not capable of making rational purchase decisions. We simply lack the hardware and the software to do it. Now, I know that makes people uncomfortable, and you can just take a minute and wrestle with that all you'd like. But just so you know, it's not a thing that like one person is different than the other. We are biologically the same. We have the same hardware and software. That hardware and software, neurologically speaking, is incapable of making a completely rational decision. Our emotions are way too tied into it. And when people, I say that in conferences, sometimes people stand up and say, well, I believe that, this company is capable of making a rational decision. No, they're not. What they're capable of doing is rationalizing an emotional one. Big difference. Big old difference, right? A rational decision is either a 0 or a 1. There's no emotion to it. It's a binary decision. Human beings don't have that. We have things that will get in the way, of that decision. And it's really important that you know that because, again, when you want to talk, marketing is about basic psychology. So if you operate from a standpoint that your basic psychology is, okay, we have to have a rational fact-based approach, and we can't ever use emotion, and we can't ever use these kind of things, you're going to lose to my clients because my clients are going to have emotional-based marketing approaches on the B2B side that are a lot better. And they engage with people on an emotional level. It's real important that you do whatever you need to do right now or in the future to get this difference. I know so many people in B2B marketing that don't understand this, and you just need to study the neuroscience. You need to absolutely study, what, let me give you an example. So when I used to work in the corporate side of things, I was responsible for very large marketing communication budgets. Now, you would think, being a rational businessman, that I would have spent all of those budgets completely rationally, completely fact-based approach, completely, what's good, in the best interest of the company and all those kind of things. And I certainly thought that I was doing that. However, it is extremely clear to me now, looking back, that I made a lot of emotional purchase decisions when I was overseeing those budgets. I wanted to work with people I liked. I wanted to work with people I trusted. I wanted to work, and you can't quantify those things. If you ask somebody, do you like this person? You either like them or you're not. You can't make a case as to why you do or why you don't. You just do, And same thing with trust. I like to work with people that I trusted because here's what somebody on a B2B side of things, they make decisions based on, obviously what's going to be safe. Who wants to make a decision that ends them up in the boss's office that fails miserably, and you're like, and why'd you make this decision? And, and how would you like your severance check? Are you cool with 20s? You know what I'm saying? People avoid risk. We avoid risk in our jobs. We avoid risks everywhere. That's not a wrong thing. That's biologic. Yeah, that's biological to avoid risk. But what's important, it's important to know if you're a marketer and you're trying to reach into a business, you must understand that you are not trying to market to a logo that's on the outside of a building. You are marketing to a oxygen-breathing human being, as it turns out. And that human being has a whole lot of stuff going on. When you work on the inside in a company, there's company politics to think about. There's the board of directors to think about. There's, past decisions that you have made to think about. There's all kinds of things. And these are the real things that are going on in people's mind when they're getting ready to make a purchase decision. When companies decide to engage my services for public relations, chances are I'm not the first public relations entity that they've had contact with. And 9 times out of 10, it hasn't been positive. And so I open up almost every new business meeting with them telling me, how their last lover, cheated on them and left them at the altar and broke their heart. And I have to convince them to sort of love again. You know what I mean? And it's hard. It's really hard. It's because they don't want to. They've been burned. When human beings, when we're burned, we don't like to go back and do, other and do the same thing again, or what we perceive to be the same thing. So it's important to get that emotional piece. That's a really big deal. If you're talking to a B2B branding firm and they're not bringing up emotion, you need to move on to somebody else. The Dave Carell, the LinkedIn's head of B2B marketing, recently shared some very intriguing and important tips on the best way to sell your products and services on the LinkedIn platform. And I thought it was really interesting. I don't have time to get into all of it, but it's at Inc.com. Check out Dave Carell's article there about how LinkedIn and B2B, sort of work together. One of the most interesting things I thought that he brought out from this was the fact that he brought out SlideShare. SlideShare is what he says is it's one of the most underutilized B2B marketing tools online right now, is SlideShare. It's a visually themed network which LinkedIn purchased and integrated into its platform in 2012. What he says, you can reach large-scale audiences, and the visuals are so powerful when it comes to messaging and sharing content online. I agree with that. I think that SlideShare is underutilized. A lot of people don't know that LinkedIn owns it. A lot of people don't know that LinkedIn is, and of course, Microsoft, soon to own LinkedIn in total. But that's what's going on in B2B. Check out that Inc. article. It's really, really interesting. And when you come back in the segment 2, I'm going to bust some myths. We're going to do some B2B myth busting. That's going to be a lot of fun. So come on back to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, Behind the Velvet Rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICHWICH. Which.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
It's a dry heat in California. Happy Friday, everybody. You are tuned back to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am still Scott, your host, and with me here in the studio, virtually, is the man we call Paul B2B, Paul B. How's it going, Paul?
Pretty good. I like that. Paul
you ever get called Paul B2B? That'd be a good one for you.
Yeah, it's kind of like a business stage name. I like it.
I like it. That's awesome. Well, cool. So here we are in the first segment. We talked about what is B2B marketing. We're all about B2theB today. In segment 2 here, we're going to do a little bit of fun myth busting. As I mentioned, a lot of B2B marketing is just awful. And one of the reasons it's awful is because the people doing it are kind of shackled by some myths. And, of course, being myths, they probably aren't true. Number one, B2B marketing must be serious, rational, fact-based at all times. As we talked about a little bit in segment 1, that's not true. That is not true at all. There is no bit of that that's true. In fact, the more serious and rational and fact-based you are, the more boring that you're going to be, and the more quickly that your audience is going to watch videos of puppies, online. And I can show you statistics that prove that point. That is 100% true. So make sure that you understand that your stuff has to be as good as the stuff that is going to distract people and pull them away from your stuff. Really important. I did a blog post. I'm going to call your attention to it on my website about a year ago, actually July 30th, 2 years ago, July 30th, 2014. And it's called Be Better Than Boardinary. And I sort of coined that term. Boring and ordinary, equals boardinary. And a lot of B2B marketing that I see is that. And then it's really just a choice, people. You can choose to have this approach that sort of feels safe and good for you and all these kind of things and doesn't really work and doesn't really engage people and all those kind of things. Or you can choose another path. And I would urge you to choose that path, the path of trying to be more interesting. Myth number 2. B2B marketing isn't really that important to us because we have our own sales team. They'll handle it. It's not really that important that we have a B2B brand. It's not really that important that we're out there marketing because we have this sales team. They're in charge of sales. They're supposed to do that job. That is also a myth. Here's why. Because sales closes the deal, right? But marketing, sort of softens the beach. You know what I mean? So most business terms come from war. So let's just use a war analogy. You're taking a beach, right? You're the general. You're taking a beach. You send in, the enemy's fortified the beach really well, right? And they're against you, and they're repelling you back. Do you send a bunch of ground troops in there to fight them hand to hand? Not unless you want to be going to a lot of funerals. What you do is you shell them from afar. And ladies and gentlemen of the jury, that's marketing. We make sure that we are softening up the beach for the sales team. Do you know how many salespeople that I talk to, that I work with my clients, that are like, thank you. Oh my God, thank you. We give them the tools to do their job better. Both things have to be working very, very well. I'm not saying that marketing is a replacement for sales, and I'm not saying that sales is a replacement for marketing. You need both. You absolutely need both in a B2B environment. It's very, very important. Don't ever fall into the trap of believing that because you have this great crack sales team or whatever, that you don't need to have a strong B2B brand, that you don't need to be marketing your business, that you don't need to have a good website, that you don't need to have good trade show presence, that you don't need to have all this because you have this sales team. I don't care who your sales team is. You could have the dude from Wolf of Wall Street, selling for you. And the bottom line is you can help that person out. You can help that team out. And you know what? You should help that team out. It's very, very important. It's very hard to market and put out a brand. And all the help that you can get, right? Myth number 3, B2B buyers are not on social media. I heard that one just this week. Well, B2B people, they're not on social media. What is it that everybody thinks? That everybody goes into a cube at the office and then they work there from 8 to 5, Monday through Friday, and then they just go home and they just shut down completely? These are human beings. Of course they're on social media. And do you honestly think, somebody actually tried to tell me this, do you honestly think that people aren't influenced in what they're doing? You think they can segment and close off their mind to be, 8 to 5, I'm rational and I'm just talking about business. But hey, after hours and on the weekends, now I'm fun guy, and now I'm totally willing to be, influenced on social media. The human brain does not work that way. It does not work that way. It does not work that way. B2B buyers are absolutely on social media because they are human beings, and human beings are on social media. Do they have a Facebook page? They do. Do they have a Twitter feed? Maybe. Are they on LinkedIn? More than likely, like we talked about last week. 550 million people on LinkedIn. For a lot of those reasons, you can check out last week's show and learn all about the fun stuff of LinkedIn. But B2B buyers are absolutely on social media. They can absolutely be influenced in their off time, and I would highly encourage that, to be honest. I think that it has to be part of your strategy. It does. Now, of course, there's a priority conversation to have, and you say, I've had people that say, Facebook isn't really for my business. That's fine. It may not be for your business, but at least you have the conversation and you don't get hamstrung with this myth at the beginning that says, well, our buyers aren't social media. I'll tell you what, tell me who your buyers are, and I will show you. I will show you they're on social media, with 100% certainty. I guarantee they are. People are. Are they out playing Pokemon Go? Probably. I'd put money on it. They're people. They're people. They're people. They're people. So one of the big fallacies is when people start to say, well, on the B2B side, now we're marketing to this nameless, faceless entity that is this business, and so we need to do it in sort of a different way. Very important. Myth number 4 kind of goes along the same lines of visuals are not as important for B2B marketing. That just could not be more false. That really couldn't. It is a visual world that we live in now, of video, and certainly even more than a graphic arts-driven world, it's a video-driven world now. And if your marketing program doesn't include some video, you're behind. You're absolutely behind. You need to be, even if you're not good at video, that's fine. There are people who can help, right? Video is not my strongest suit in the world either, I have to say. But I made it my strongest suit because that's where the people are going. That's where the communication is going. And, as somebody that works in communications, it's really important to sort of be able to reach people with the arrows, very important. But this visual thing is really important. And I've had people, even as very, very recently said, oh, well, it's really important that we hit them with the facts. We've got spreadsheets and stuff, and these visuals aren't as important, because we're in a B2B side of things, and people just really care about numbers. You can't honestly think that's true. You really just can't. You got to examine these things when people say these words that come out of their mouths. There's no way that's true, okay? It's a visual world. Visuals compel people, they engage people, they bring people into the things that you're doing in a much bigger way. Go on your own social feed and look at the posts that you pay attention to. Almost all of them have visuals attached to them. Almost all posts already have a visual attached to them, but the ones that just have text, they're much easier to skip. So don't fall victim of that myth. It's really, really important that you understand that. Myth number 5, B2B content cannot be engaging. Wrong. Absolutely wrong. All the B2B clients that I work with, we talk about messaging. We talk about the emotions that we're trying to invoke. We're trying about the emotions that we're trying to pull out of everybody on these kind of things. What are we trying to activate around people? For example, IBM uses the tagline on its B2B side, a smarter planet, right? And they can feed that story with a lot of, so that's an emotional tagline. Why is it emotional? because it has a word in there that that activates for some people. The word is smarter. Okay. So what their research probably found, I don't work for IBM, but my guess is found that there was a positive association with the idea of being smarter. And it appeals to people who like to think that they're doing things that make their company smarter, that make the world smarter, that do all these kind of things. So their brand is built around it. Do you see what I'm talking about? The brand is built around the emotion that you're trying to evoke there. So, and it really can be engaging. I work for a healthcare benefits provider. Everyone in her category has this boring content about the Affordable Care Act and rates are going up and all those kind of things. So, you know what we do? We talk about superheroes. Her company, we talk about superheroes. We tie in and say small business owners are afraid of and about the idea of all these things changing in healthcare, and we position her company as the saving grace, as the savior that's going to kind of come in and have the answers and help them and kind of get rid of the fear. Right? There's a lot of fear in healthcare insurance, so we kind of use it and we create more interesting stuff. Plus, there's so much content around superheroes in our pop culture today that it's just an embarrassment of riches of the things that we get to talk about, and it makes it much more interesting. And our business is growing because of it. Hey, you're tuned to May the Best Brand Win here on Intertalk Radio. Come on back in segment 3. We're going to talk about who's winning and who's losing. See you in a few.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, which.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Happy Friday. You are tuned back to May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am still Scott, your host, digging into the B2B marketing, and with me in the studio, staying cool, is Paul B. How's it going?
Good. Trying to stay cool. Yeah.
Staying cool?
Yeah. It's you're up in LA, correct?
Orange County.
County. I don't think it's quite one. You said 108 up there?
108.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I guess we're a little closer to the coast here, so it's not quite that bad, but it's pretty bad down here too.
It should never be 108. We should get a tax refund that comes automatically, refunds to you when it reaches 108.
Definitely.
That's what I say. Well, cool. Let's dig into segment 3 here. And in segment 3 on this show, we always like to dig into who's winning and losing in marketing. Let's start off with MasterCard. This week, MasterCard changed its logo. Maybe you saw it, maybe you didn't. But it's kind of interesting. Why they would do it is kind of interesting. It's the logo still has the overlapping red and yellow circles and the sans serif font, but all the elements are a little bit slimmer, a little bit flatter, a little bit kind of less fussy. Apparently 2.3 billion people carry MasterCard cards, and really what's interesting is the argument is, why would you change such a successful brand like that? And the bottom line is, and I love what they said in this article from Wired about it. It basically says consistent branding is one way banks and credit cards build trust with their customers. Change is very scary. And then it says change is also constant. Like many 21st century financial institutions, MasterCard's business is about more than credit cards. It's about online payments, digital wallets. So branding has to be very flexible too. It has to have the ability to be able to thrive in a digital space. So anyway, I put them in the winning column this week. I think it's a cool logo change. I think it makes it look a little more techy, and I think it does work a little bit more for the online payment side of things. Their logo could start to look a little bit dated. So good job, MasterCard. You're winning this week. Let's talk about another winner out there, and that is science. Science is winning because this week they released a new study and they found nearly 100 new regions of our brains. The neuroscientists working on the Human Connectome project have compiled the most accurate map yet of the human cerebral cortex. The researchers identified 180 distinct areas of the brain's outer layer, which effectively doubles the number of previously known regions. Really, really fascinating. The new regions they discovered are in the areas of sensory and motor processing, language, and logical reasoning. So, of course, marketing is just waiting to pounce and be like, hey, how can we use this to annoy people in new and exciting ways? But I would say science is winning, because anytime that you can find new stuff on the brain that's been studied for a long period of time, that's a good thing. Losing, I think we got to talk about Melania Trump and the plagiarized speech, which sounds like sort of a less interesting Harry Potter book, Trump and the plagiarized speech. But this week, the wife of Republican presidential candidate Donald Trump gave a speech, and apparently was incredibly similar to a speech given in 2008 by Michelle Obama. Here's what I'll say about that, is that, most people at that level are not writing their own speeches, and since that story broke, obviously the speechwriter has kind of come forward and said, yeah, I lifted parts of it from this other speech, you know what I mean? And kudos for people who are paying attention that closely that they could actually see it, But I think you got to put that in kind of the losing column, because it created a little bit of a bump in the road for the Trump campaign early on in the week. And, obviously it's not, we teach our kids and that it's not good to lift other people's work and to give credit where credit's due. And, plagiarism's a big thing. So I don't think there's any way you can see not putting that in the old losing column. Let's talk about Selena Gomez, who is an artist, and she is definitely winning because she has the most likes on her Instagram images of the history of the platform. But it was released today or a couple of days ago through Mashable. The Adweek reports that Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram posts from the pop singer are being valued at up to $550,000 a piece. I'll just let you sit there with that for a minute. So, $550,000 per post by Selena Gomez. Now, does that mean that she's getting $550,000? I mean, that's really it's an ad equivalent value per post, and not necessarily that she's walking away with. It depends on the deal, right? The deals that you're making. But she is in bed with probably bad choice of words. She's working with brands like Coca-Cola and some other fashion brands and things like that. So I think hey, good for her. I mean, it blows the mind, boggles the mind, the fact that's happening. But I say, good job, Selena Gomez, and I put you in the winning column this week. I'm definitely going to do that. Let's talk about who's losing out there. Here's a good one. McDonald's. McDonald's. McDonald's in New Zealand recently thought it would be a good idea to ask the internet to name some of its own burgers. So, before I get into this, it should be really abundantly clear to all marketers out there. What do we never do? We never ask the internet to name things, right? Everybody remembers Bodie McBoatface, right? That's what you get when you ask the internet to name things. It's more fun to, it's not going to be taken seriously, and it's probably not going to be positive. And don't forget, Bill Cosby's trouble all came from when he went onto Twitter and he asked the internet to meme him. Hey, meme me. What's the worst that could happen? Well, if you ask the internet what's the worst that could happen, the worst is going to happen. Just so we're on the same page with that. Don't do that, ever. Don't ever ask the internet to name stuff. Should we talk about some of the good names that came out? So, some of them were extremely offensive and certainly not what McDonald's was looking for. But there were some funny ones. Here's a good one. The Bernie Socialist Feast, which was just a top and a bottom bun. That was pretty funny. There was one ridiculous request that was just a giant stack of lettuce. And the name for the creation was Bag of Lettuce. There was just buns, and that was called the Carbonator. And then there was just a hamburger that was really nothing at all, and they called that the Atheist's Delight. So I think we're all on the same page, and we've definitely covered the fact that you should never, ever, 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 ever ask the internet to name your stuff. It's going to go to it's not going to go to any sort of a good place for you. It's going to go to a bad place. And the last thing that I want to say, that I want to talk about, is in terms of in this segment, is in terms of winning. I think you got to say that Trump is winning. I mean, here we have a system where the Republicans and Democrats have always brought up a politician from in the inner ranks, a senator, a governor, something like that. And here you have an outsider, a businessman getting the Republican nomination for president of the United States. I mean, that is historic. Somebody whose career never touched anything like that, never even held a city council seat, and this is the man that is going to kind of come from outside politics and get the actual nod. And I think that shows sort of where we are, right? Remember how we talked, I think in one of the very first episodes, we talked about trust, right? Trust will show you the answer every single time. Trust in government is at an all-time low. More than 9 out of 10 people distrust every single word that the government says. It's actually statistically higher than that, but since that's not like a whole person, it's like 9.4 something in the Pew Research. It's ridiculous. It can almost literally it can be said that literally everyone distrusts our government. It's an earned reputation, right? They make bad decisions and lie a lot and get caught lying a lot. And so in this climate of massive distrust of the insiders in the system, you have an outsider who's got some celebrity status, obviously, for many, many years, rises to the top and basically says, hey, none of these politicians have the capability of fixing what's wrong, because what's wrong is them, right? And that's what he said last night in his speech. Basically, what he said was, your whole system, Republicans, Democrats, all the system that you guys have believed is completely corrupted, and it's going to take an outside influence to bust this thing wide open. And honestly, I think that that's a pretty good approach, because, again, if you're a smart marketer and you're watching the trust numbers, you want to be on the side that says, hey, that wasn't me. I'm on this side of that. I'm with you guys. This is, that I don't know how a politician stands up and says, hey, we're gonna solve things, and looks at those trust numbers. I mean, those trust numbers are the lowest I've ever seen in my entire life. So I think for those reasons, we got to put Trump in the winning category. And it'd be interesting to see how this whole thing plays out under a background of sort of governmental distrust. And that's who's winning and losing in marketing this week. You are still tuned to May the Best Brand Win right here on Intertalk Radio, the absolutely undisputed leader in music biz talk. Come on back. I'm going to give you some B2B tips and tricks. See you in a few.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at whichwich.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICHWICH. Whichwich.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, behind the velvet rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
May the best brand win with Scott Robertson's Music Biz Marketing Strategies. Now, here's your host, Scott Robertson.
Happy Friday. Once again, you are tuned right on back to May the Best Brand Win, right here on Intertalk Radio, the undisputed leader in music biz talk. I am still Scott, remarkably so, and still hanging out with Paul B in the studio. It's probably a cool 75 in the studio, isn't it?
Something like that. And I was sitting here cracking up when you were talking about the McDonald's name your own burger fiasco, because I just saw that on Reddit this morning. And as you were listing them, I was trying to find another one, but I think you basically covered the only ones that weren't ridiculously obscene.
Oh man, there were so many. And then I love Bag of Lettuce. That was an awesome one. And you just know, I can't believe that companies like McDonald's are saying, hey, let's let the internet name stuff.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, I was thinking about it, and you have to be just like, not have sense of humor of your own to think that anyone would not jump at an opportunity to rag on something like this. It's just too
absolutely.
good. I think I found one that's not obscene that can be told on the internet. It's called The Sad European, and it's just two buns with a slice of cheese in between them.
I love that. And at the same time, if you're in marketing, you're just shaking your head going, what are we doing, people? What's the plan? Well, speaking of the plan, let's talk about, it's segment 4 here. We're talking about B2theB, and we're talking about some tips and tricks to help you, should you get the assignment to do some B2B work, which is really fun work. It really can be very exciting. Good work. Some of my favorite clients and clients that I have the most fun with are, B2B segments, like financial services and law and healthcare insurance and all those kind of things. I mean, I can do really interesting, cool stuff with stuff that other people just put out boring stuff with. So here's a few tips for you. Number 1, let's just go with number 1. How about that? Know your target, not the company, not the logo outside the company, but the actual people inside. Know what they're feeling. Know what they're going through. What problem are you solving for them? Are you going to make them look better at the boss? Are you going to save them from having a negative performance review? Are you going to save the company a bunch of money so that then they can look better and they finally will get that promotion that they're after? What's going through their heads? Drill down and have that conversation about the emotions of the people that you're trying to reach. How do you market when you don't have that conversation? You must have that conversation. Number 2, have a strong and emotional message. Have guts. Be daring. The reason that my marketing works so well for my healthcare insurance client is the fact that she has guts. She has the ability to say, yes, Scott, that's really out there. That's really crazy. And nobody in my category is doing it. Let's do it. Let's do it. That's a choice. Be bold. I said, you have a choice. You can be ordinary and safe and completely forgotten and waste all your money and have terrible marketing, or you can have guts, you can be daring, you can take some risks, you can entertain and educate people, and you can do things differently. Make your choice. Very important. Number 3, keep your promises. And if you can't, because of something that happens on the B2B side, something happens during the sales cycle or anything that's more complex than just, hey, it wasn't up to me necessarily, but the company didn't keep its promise, that kind of thing, then say you're sorry when you don't and when you can't. It's really, really important. You're talking about, marketing is about trust. You hear me use the T word many, many times. If you aren't having the trust conversation about marketing, then you aren't doing marketing, just so you know. The trust is everything. That is absolutely what we are about. That's what we're trying to get. We're trying to build long-term relationships. That's why we don't retarget. The reason we don't do retargeting and stuff is it annoys people. It makes them want to come to your house and hit you over the head with a hammer. And we don't do stuff like that because we're in the relationship business. Okay? Don't let digital marketing people say, yeah, I can get you a bunch of sales, and all I have to do is bug people 75 times to do it. Those people will want to kill you. Don't do it. Don't do it. Make sure, and on the B2B side, same thing. People don't have tolerance for your overabundance of communication that drowns them, okay? Pick your shots. Pick your shots. And number 3 here, most important, keep those promises. Make sure you say you're sorry when you don't or you can't, and make sure that you're working on preserving that relationship. Number 4 tip, B2B tip and trick. Lay off the jargon. I go to trade shows all the time, and I walk by booths, and there will be sentences written across the banner, and there is no meaning. There's no meaning in this sentence. It is a turnkey, robust solution for B2B companies who are trying to stop it. Just talk to people. You've really what you have, is great, I'm sure, but you don't have to over exaggerate it with a bunch of engineering, jargon and 3-letter acronyms and things like that are going to look really good and sound really good and that kind of thing, and just miss the meaning. Your job as a communicator is to pull back the bow and hit the target, right? Remember we talked about reading levels? What's the average reading level? United States of America. Yeah, 8th grade. It's an 8th grade. Yeah, you're using multisyllabic words. You know who you're missing? Everyone, right? Lay off the jargon. Don't let engineering ever design your communications. I love engineers. My guitar player is an engineer. He is not the right person to write the banner that goes in the trade show. He's not the guy. You want somebody like me. You want somebody that knows how to pull back the bow. It's really important. Very, very important to lay off the jargon. There's way too much of that going on, even in your technical trade shows. Sometimes people use jargon for a couple of reasons. Sometimes it's to intentionally exclude. And sometimes it's to, technical people will use jargon to basically, kind of keep other people out of their little sandbox and that kind of thing. But, we're not in that business. We're in the let's bring people in, let's increase sales, let's increase the relationships business. That's the business that we're in. So, again, I really can't say enough about that. When I go in and visit a B2B company for the first time, I went to see one just a couple of weeks ago, and they put down their marketing to the utility industry, and they laid down a brochure in front of me, and they said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I don't understand this." And they said, "Oh, well, you're not in this industry." And I said, "Right, but are you completely sure that somebody, quote unquote, in this industry can understand it?" That's a big gamble, folks. I mean, that's a really big gamble that you're gonna that everybody in the same industry, shares that vocabulary. Why would you do that? Let's make sense. Let's make sense out there. It's really not too hard to do. I think people get caught in that mythology, and they say, "Well, we just don't sound very impressive when we just kind of talk to people." Write like you talk. Write like you talk. This ain't Shakespeare. Just make sense to people. Really, really important. And just one more thing on tip 4. Marketing people sometimes try to rhyme things and make 3 E words together and kind of stuff. Stop that. Don't do that stuff. That gives the appearance of marketing. Nobody knows what the hell you're trying to say, just so you know. Just talk about what you're trying to say. If I could just keep saying one thing over and over, it's really that. It's really that. Just make sure, give it to your grandmother. If she doesn't understand it, you go back to the drawing board. Back to the drawing board. Very important. And my last tip is to make your stuff different and, dare I say, fun and entertaining and educational. What? It's B2B stuff. How can it be, that different? How can it be fun, entertaining, and educational? What have I been talking about this entire show? It's a choice. It is absolutely a choice, and the choice is open to you on the B2B side as well as the consumer side. Realize that it's, that there's just people working on this stuff. Make your stuff fun and different. B2B, it's $85 billion worth of mostly boring, ordinary, forgettable marketing that can and should be much, much better. The reason it's not is the marketing profession clings to a lot of dumb myths that really aren't true anymore. Maybe they never were. If your target is a business, understand your real target is a person or persons inside the business, and those people are the same people buying toilet paper and green beans at the store on Saturday. They just happen to be sitting in a different chair right now. Follow my advice. Don't ever settle for ordinary. Make your B2B marketing extraordinary. That's it for me on May the Best Brand Win on Intertalk Radio. Until next week, you have a wonderful weekend. Stay cool out there, and we'll see you back here. Bye-bye.
Hi, I'm Tim Dolbear, the host of Sound Experience on Intertalk Radio. Each week, I talk with top professional audio engineers, producers, musicians, and the manufacturers that make the tools that we use in the studio each and every day. From capturing the perfect take to mastering your final release, and the tools and how the pros use them, we are going to dive deep into their process and learn from their experience. I look forward to you joining us each week on Sound Experience with me, your host, Tim Dolbear.
Which sandwich is healthy and tasty? Which sandwich can come on bread or in a bowl? Which sandwich comes 51 different ways, so it's always your way? A which sandwich. Stop into our shop in Hazard Center. We're upstairs from the Hazard Center Digiplex. Bring in your movie ticket. We will add a free drink and chips to your sandwich order. Or order online at which.com, and we will have it ready and waiting. WHICH, which.com.
Has your business been appified? Are you tired of doing marketing that doesn't deliver results? Mobile apps build loyalty and quality retention. Your app from UPG Mobile puts your business on their mind and at their fingertips. UPG Mobile will give you a custom app highlighting how you are unique, targeting your message, and improving your open rates. Appify your business and amplify your presence with your customers at upgmobilemarketinggroup.com.
Have you ever wondered what it's like to record on a Grammy award-winning album? Have you ever wondered what it's like to play in front of a stadium crowd? Have you ever wondered what it's like to be on a world tour? I'm Jackie Bertoni, and I've played with the who's who in the music industry, and I've toured the world. Come join my world, Behind the Velvet Rope, and get into the groove on Jackie's Groove. Live 2 p.m. Mondays and available 24/7 on jackiesgroove.com.
Hey, it's Catherine from Listen Local Radio. Moe's Guitars has proudly served the San Diego music community since 1975. Specializing in guitars, basses, mandolins, banjos, and ukuleles, they buy, sell, trade, and consign. If you're looking for lessons, repairs, accessories, and cool gear, you found the right place. Located in downtown La Mesa Village, stop by and check out their digs or visit moesguitars.com or their Facebook page. mozeguitars.com, 619-698-1185.
Are you serious about your music? Are you ready to run with the big dogs? The experts at Pitbull Audio have the gear to get you into the game. From leading manufacturers like Mesa Boogie, Fender, Pioneer, and American Audio. To sound your best, you need the best. Pitbull Audio can deliver in rehearsal, on stage, and into the big time. Dropping beats, shredding guitar, or making the crowd roar. Whatever you dream, Pitbull Audio can help make it happen. We are Pitbull Audio. We want you to play it loud. PitbullAudio.com.